who's your backup or starting center. Now you feel good about both those positions.
Welcome into an emotional edition of TexAgs Rewind. Nick Savage does not want to do the show, Luke, but you are here to help us on the best part of the program.
Yes, a little emotional for sure, just hearing that he doesn't want anything to do with us, actually. And it's a shame because it was such a great show, and, we're really going to miss him on the Rewind.
Well, he'll be on the Rewind. I don't think he died. I think he'll be on the Rewind again. Just today he was busy with other things.
Oh, yeah.
But
sorry,
it's sad.
were we up playing that?
Well, I mean,
was that too much?
It's emotional when somebody doesn't want to be part of the team.
Yeah, I know.
They just want to move on. It's all right. Olin Buchanan always wants to be on the show. He's always ready. He had a hot sports take or two on the program. He was on the show. What was your favorite part of the show?
It's got to be Tom Hart.
Really?
Yeah.
Favorite part? First thing you remembered.
Tom Hart and changing the tire. You remember I don't know how to change a tire. We remember that conversation. Yeah. I am not the best.
And you don't know how to go to UPS or the U.S. Mail.
Okay, we didn't need to bring that up.
I'm just saying.
Time.
Tom Hart was great. He was awesome. Billy Liucci came on the show 2 days in a row. When you get 2 days in a row of Billy Liucci, that usually means
something's happening.
Yeah, some news out there. And he talked about that news. So listen up. He talks about Bryce Foster and some other things on there as well. We had NFL.com and NFL Network's Lance Zierlein, also from ESPN 97.5 in Houston. LZ on the show to talk a little NFL draft. That and more. It is the TexAgs Rewind. Little roster additions.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Roster additions. I know a lot of people are speculating what's going on with the roster. Let's talk about the additions at this moment, and then we'll kind of work our way around. So East Carolina tight end Shane Calhoun was the most recent guy.
Okay,
I think it was yesterday afternoon. And that's not a position I was thinking about.
No, me neither.
But okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does that mean? Just bring more competition to that spot.
Yeah, it just seems that they're good at tight end.
Now they're better.
Yeah. I mean, if you like this guy and think he can help, I wonder if he's considered a really strong blocking tight end. And maybe they're thinking, okay, look, we got enough guys who can receive as tight ends, but let's upgrade our blocking. I mean, I wonder. I don't know enough about him to know if he's a really good blocking tight end or not.
And then yesterday I think it was towards the end of the show, Solomon DeShields, the linebacker,
from
which
Pitt.
I looked at his numbers. I like it. I see how much he's played. I like it. He's going to compete for an opportunity to play.
I think anytime you can get a guy at a position that you have of need that has played major college football and started and been productive, I think that's a guy you want to add because you need depth. And quite frankly, you still got to figure out who your starting linebackers are, or starting linebacker is opposite Torian York. So, that was one I was hoping that they would land, and I was really glad to see that they did.
Is that 25 additions? Is that what I'm saying right there? 25 additions, I believe it is, from the transfer route, I should say, transfer portal. This since Mike Elko's taken over.
Well, I counted 23.
Okay, 23. Some moving and shaking. I just kind of wanted to start off with some of the additions and take it from there.
Yeah, well, look, we've said all along you need a linebacker, right? I mean, you might have your starting linebackers on campus following the spring. You might not. That was a position that they absolutely needed depth, but they also needed starting caliber linebacker to come in and compete. And, look, maybe win the job. That's just going to depend. I mean, his resume says he can walk in here and start alongside Torian York, but he'll have to beat out guys like Damian Sanford, like Scooby Williams, who I saw make plays off and on throughout the spring, and Damian physically has that look. You watch him run around out there, he's sudden, he'll strike you. But you're bringing in the guy in Solomon DeShields that started on a good defense for a defensive-minded coach and has a lot of good tape against ACC competition. You brought him in to play a lot, and like I said, he's coming in to try to take a starting job, and those other guys are going to have to fend him off, and if they start over him, that's fine too. I mean, all of a sudden you have some much needed depth at linebacker. And you've got two guys in York and DeShield who have started, one for a really impressive year in the SEC and one of them in the ACC. And both in the case of DeShield, for a defensive-minded head coach, and York's playing for one now. And then you got a guy, Scooby Williams, who played a lot of football at Florida. And then you've got, and there's more than just these guys I'm saying, but I'm just saying then you've also got a young guy in Damian Sanford who looked really promising in the spring. So just the addition of DeShield in multiple ways makes you feel a hell of a lot better about that linebacker position now coming out of spring ball and entering the off season. So that was a big one. And then to go out and we talked about a little bit about the center edition yesterday, and that's one with Mark Naboo there. Again, who's your backup or starting center? Now you feel good about both those positions.
How about Braden Montgomery? Not that far off when you think about the direction his season's going. 376, 22 home runs. The A&M lineup, you can try to walk him, but you're going to face somebody right after that's going to do it, or you can walk the guy right before him. Oh, that's Jace Lavalette. I don't think you see, he's doing this with all those guys in the lineup.
Yeah, Gavin Grahalbeck, he had a great week, hit 350 last week and was named Freshman of the Week. There's not a trio in college baseball in any lineup, and there's no third of a lineup like what Schloss has with those three guys. I mean, it's almost impossible to navigate. So, yeah, that's the danger. I think in any other year, the player of the year discussion is really fun to have, and hey, there's a lot of guys that are battling for it. But when you have somebody putting up the numbers like Condon is putting up, and Caglione is second in the country in home runs, and he also pitches. He's their best pitcher. Now, he's not tearing it up on the mound. He's got an ERA around 4, I think it is, and they win a lot of his starts, but that's because he throws the third game of the series. But yeah, listen, that A&M lineup is it's as dangerous as any, and it's why a lot of people now that do these rankings every day, like the Kendall Rogers of the world, say that from a power ranking standpoint, now A&M in front of Arkansas. Forget about what the overall rankings look like, but I think the power of that offense and the bullpen separate them from the other elite contenders right now.
Let me ask you about Edge Cooper. What are you hearing about Edge?
I think Edge ends up going in the second. I think he's got a chance to be the first linebacker off the board. It's either going to be him or Junior Colson. There's too many injury issues with Peyton Wilson to go first. So, a lot of teams speed kills, and a lot of teams really love the fact that he's able to go sideline to sideline. He's able to blitz. He's a blitzer. He can, he's very good at spying quarterbacks as well. So I think when you add it all up, Junior Colson to me is a more stable linebacker in terms of read, react, and consistency, but the higher upside is going to be Edgerrin Cooper. So I think when it comes to his speed and his upside and his ability to play on third downs, Edgerrin is going to be the first linebacker more than likely off the board. And I think he goes sometime in the first, probably 43, 44 picks.
LZ is the next Aggie off the board, probably McKinley Jackson.
I'm trying to remember the entire class. I think Leighton Robinson has a chance to go. Well, it's tough. I think Robinson versus McKinley is going to be a tough one because Leighton I've heard as early as 4 and as late as 6. McKinley is kind of the same, more like 4 or 5. So I think more than likely McKinley's more of a 5th probably, and Leighton is going to be close to it too. So I think those two guys are the next step that you have to keep an eye on. But I wouldn't rule out Anais Smith. Anais Smith is one of those guys that's just very quietly, for those of us who watched him plenty, which obviously you did, he was a little different player before that injury. And so if you get back to the pre-injury tape, and if you buy into the fact that he can become that again, I think Anais has a chance maybe to be the next guy off the board, the second one off the board. It just kind of depends on how teams want to use him.
And how about Damani Richardson? Do you see somebody taking a flyer on him?
I think he's probably undrafted. I think he's more than likely. He's 7th to priority free agent. It's not a great safety draft, so I think what's going to happen is teams are just going to say, you know what? Once you get past a certain cutoff for safeties, you're going to have a smaller board, I think, and teams where he may have been considered in previous drafts, I think a lot of teams are going to cut it off and say, you know what, not a great safety draft. We'll just take our chances with priority free agents.
All right, Luke, if Nick was going to help the show today, how would he end this particular segment?
He was going to say, shout out to the Navasota Rattlers and their baseball team, and make sure to like and comment and subscribe and follow TexAgs on all social media.
And you are a Houston Texans semi-fan behind the Giants?
Yes. Well, now I'm more of a Texans fan. That new uniform bumped it up for me.
Okay. And you're from Dallas.
Yeah.
But everything else is Dallas.
Yes.
But when it comes to football, it's about the Texans.
Yes.
Because of the uniform and C.J. Stroud.
Yep.
And being a better city.
Yep.
Oh, thank you. I didn't think you were going to say that. It's a rewind. We'll see you next time.